Bless you. Right.
Can you hear yourself okay?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I
right.
can hear myself.
Call your friend? Are you ready to?
Let me, yeah, I can call it.
And then your headphones are yep, too loud. Then it will, yeah, that's fair. I'll just have the headphones.
Okay, let's see if I can find her number. This. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, I can hear the call in the headphones.
Hello, this is Jennifer.
Hi Jennifer, this is Tyson. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm just this is my first time doing the podcast, so we're getting set up in the studio right now, just making sure everything's working, but no. But it looks like
Perfect.
everything's working perfect. So, yeah.
Oh, good.
And you can hear me okay?
Yep, I sure can.
Well, awesome. Great. Let me just finish getting some things set up and then we'll go ahead and start recording.
Great.
All right. All right, great. I think we're good to go. Are we good to go? Okay, perfect. Great. So welcome, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think I'll do like a little intro for the podcast. Like I'll just say, hey, welcome and everything, and then we'll get going into the questions and all that. That works?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, great. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Healthy Hearts and Lungs. This is Tyson, your host, and today we have a guest from the American Heart Association. Her name is Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. It's kind of exciting. This is my second podcast for the show, and it feels cool to be talking to someone from an organization like the American Heart Association. It's pretty cool.
Well, we enjoy the opportunity as well because this is a way for us to reach people who we've been trying to reach. Everyone thinks heart disease is an older person's disease, but it affects everyone, no matter what your age is. So I welcome the opportunity to be able to reach people through your podcast.
Well, perfect. Yeah, it's fun, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that especially with today's ease of fast food and all sorts of things, more sedentary lifestyles, it's kind of scary that like younger and younger people are getting forms of heart disease, and it'll be rewarding to be able to communicate that to more audiences and kind of help them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so welcome, and just tell me about yourself a little bit, Jennifer, your background and what you do for the American Heart Association.
Well, my name's Jennifer Merback, and I am the Communications and Marketing Director for the American Heart Association, covering both Utah and Idaho. And I have been with the AHA since, it's been 16 and a half years. So I've been there quite a while. I'm passionate about what I do. My background is in communications and PR, and this was a great fit, and I enjoy working with other communications directors across our affiliate, which is the Western states, and being able to cover other markets as well. And, everyone has a tie to heart disease in some way. And for me, it's hit my family quite a bit. My husband was born with a congenital heart defect. My father suffered a stroke and my mother suffered a heart attack. And then just a few months ago, my father, who exercised every single day for more than 50 years, passed away of a massive heart attack. So I know what heart disease does to families, and I want to help others get through that and find ways that we can prevent it. If we start teaching people when they're younger, then hopefully one day I'll be out of a job because we will eradicate heart disease.
Wow.
That's my wish.
I love that. That's what I wish too. I love your passion, and I'm really sorry to hear about your family. That's something that nobody should have to deal with. But I agree. I think most everyone's has some sort of tie to heart disease, and I think if we can educate people better about it, and we can just talk more about heart disease, we can get people to really realize that that their healthy behaviors, if what they do each day can really affect their condition and really help them to avoid getting these horrible diseases.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
So with your, as the American Heart Association, and with your role, are you able to do things like what we're doing now, a lot of podcasts and other things to help communicate, or how does the American Heart Association communicate to people?
A variety of ways. So first of all, I work with the media, and so I work with TV and newspaper and print and radio and online, because so much of our news is consumed online now. It's vastly changed my job since I began over 16 years ago. But it continues to be about building strong relationships with the media to get the word out. And the reason I say that is because even as things continue to evolve, especially with social media, you can leverage those media relationships and reach a greater audience when you are, tagging the particular media outlet or having them post things on your behalf. So it works out well. But so I do work with the media, lots of social media. I manage all three of the Utah social media accounts, and then all three of the Idaho ones, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we also share messages with people on our website, of course. We work with corporations to educate their employees. We work with small groups on events like our Heart and Stroke Walk, which involves, families as well as corporations who want to engage their employees in something healthy. And then, we have, it's called our online support network. So we engage with people that way as well, reaching survivors, caregivers, and others. But since the pandemic started, we've been doing a lot more online. Obviously, our scientific sessions is usually held in person. It was all virtual. This year, we've had live streaming events on the AHA National Facebook page. We do things over Zoom.
Oh, it's all encompassing. I like that you're doing social media. What are like the usernames or the Instagram handles for all those so people can follow?
At AHA Utah. It's simple. At AHA Utah. AHA Utah for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, okay. That's great. Then I encourage everybody to follow them, because I know you guys are going to be posting on there and doing all sorts of education through those Instagram Twitter and all that, and then people can get
Yep.
more and share more.
Absolutely. And we try and post, we do fun posts, of course, but then I also try and post recent research that we've done, recommendations like what heart and stroke patients should consider with the COVID vaccine, things like that that can help people as well, not just, motivational. We have our Motivation Monday posts, of course, but then having things, everything from recipes to research studies. So.
Oh, that's great. I think a big thing, and this is going to get a little off topic and we'll talk about it more, but like some people just don't realize like how easy it is to cook healthy. They haven't had the education, but if we can have resources
Yep.
like recipes, like if they can, this is great for people to be able to follow and say, oh, great, here's a healthy recipe that can keep me healthy and avoid heart disease. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Heart.org has a ton of recipes, and a lot of them I cook myself, and they're good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We have some great recipes, and they taste good. So, it doesn't, people think, oh, it's healthy, it's not going to taste good.
You mean to tell me
That's
that we
not
can
the
have
case.
recipes that taste good but also are healthy?
Yep, exactly.
Well, that's great. Like really, I think that's heart.org is where they can find
Yep.
those. I think that's a really good resource.
Heart.org.
Okay, good. Well, perfect. I'm loving this. I think this is really good for people to see all these things. I think it'd be good for people to understand some of like the common forms of heart disease and maybe how they happen. Off the top of your head, like what's the most common form of heart disease?
Well, I don't know if there's an absolute most common form because there are so many different types of heart disease, but I can share with you some of the things people face, everything from heart failure to sudden cardiac arrest to heart attack. There's cardiomyopathy, which is a form of heart failure. There's atrial fibrillation, which, affects basically it's like the electrical system in your heart, and that can lead to stroke, which is, number one killer in the world is heart disease or cardiovascular disease. Number two is stroke. In addition, diabetes can lead to heart complications as well. The one thing that needs to be thought of, though, are congenital heart defects. That because of systems in place and the research that we have funded, many children born with congenital heart defects are living, strong, healthy lives within or into adulthood. So, but eventually there may come a time when they'll need heart surgery, such as valve replacement or, something of that nature. But something that falls under heart disease is high blood pressure. And many, many people have that, and they've determined that a great deal of young people, early 20s, suffer from high blood pressure and are unaware of it. It's called the silent killer.
I was unaware of that as well. I didn't realize people that young would have, or it was common for people that young to have high blood pressure.
Yep. I think the myth is what we found the last couple of years, because we were noticing that the incidence of stroke is coming down. However, it's going up among millennials and Gen Z because people, they assume, I'm eating healthy, I'm working out, I should be fine, and not going to their doctor and having their numbers checked. You can be doing all of the right things and still have high blood pressure.
Wow.
Or high cholesterol. I shared with you that my father died after he seriously worked out 5 to 6 days a week for over 50 years. And he ate healthy as well. However, he smoked when I was a child and then switched to chewing tobacco. And nicotine plays a great role in clogging your arteries, and that's what happened.
Wow.
So even though he counterbalanced with exercise and that, the nicotine really took its toll. So, we encourage everyone, go to your doctor or even get your blood pressure checked, the machines that you see at the pharmacy or wherever you happen to find one. Know your numbers. That is your most powerful resource in terms of taking care of your heart health, your heart and brain health. If you know your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your body mass index, and your good cholesterol, your HDL, those numbers will help you know what your risk factors are and how to manage those.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of interesting going back to the high blood pressure. Like, I think at least before I started taking classes in my exercise science major, I think I was like most people where they hear, oh, high blood pressure is bad, but they don't really get why. But the way I was explained it by one of my professors is that you imagine like a river cutting through its banks. The faster that river's going, the more high flow it has, the more it's going to be pushing on those banks, and then it starts to tear at the walls of the banks, and that's how you get erosion. It's kind of the same idea with your vessels, where your vessels are getting pounded and pounded, and they start to get some tears in it, some scars, and that's really what's starting to clog up your arteries and form plaque in there, is because you're hurting your arteries. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is so true.
And I think I remember learning that caffeine is something that also elevates your blood pressure. So I wonder if one of the other reasons that younger people, like in their 20s, are having such high blood pressures, they're in college or whatever, and they're trying to survive off of Red Bull and coffee, and it's really taking a toll on their cardiovascular system.
I will say that we don't recommend the energy drinks because of the sugar content and the high caffeine. There have been incidences of young people actually dying after drinking too many. However, there are studies that coffee is actually, obviously not if you're drinking a pot a day, but coffee is good for your heart health.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's
many people associate it with being bad, but it's actually good for your heart. So, but of course, too much caffeine, too much of anything is not going to be a good thing. But blood pressure, that's something. It can have many different factors. It can be genetic. It can be a big one is sodium, and sodium is hidden in a lot of foods that you normally wouldn't think of, such as bread. Bread has a high sodium content, as well as pizza, deli meats, all the things that college students consume.
All
if you think about
foods. Yeah.
I have a daughter in high school, and she loves ramen, and I have to tell you, I freak out when she wants to eat it because you look on the back and it's a week's worth of sodium.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, and I think that's a common college student dish is the ramen noodles.
Yep, absolutely. And those processed foods contain the higher sodium counts, and so but the unfortunate thing is they're easily accessible, and they are they're cheap. So, we're working with, we're working with on a few different things, including legislation to ensure kids have healthy lunches at school, as well as working with major food corporations to try and create partnerships for them to reduce the sodium content in their foods.
I think I've seen the label on some foods. Like I think do you have like a label like an American Heart Association label? Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
It's called the Heart Check Mark, and that those have gone through AHA science review to ensure that they meet heart healthy standards. So, when you go grocery shopping, you can, if you look for that heart check mark, that will make a big difference. And you'll see it on oatmeal, on, different things. And there are quite a few healthy foods that are reasonably priced, like oatmeal. And, if you watch the sodium content, things like canned beans, if you get the lower sodium variety, or another option to do is when you are using those beans, rinsing them with water before using them, and you're getting rid of a great deal of the sodium content.
Oh, because it's soaked in like the whatever watery solution they have. It's got some salt in it. So if you just wash that, well, that's great.
Yeah, so that's a tip. If you say that you're preparing a quick and healthy soup, and you want to buy chicken broth, go for the lower sodium variety. There are lots of lower sodium, lower sugar varieties of foods that make a big difference in helping you cook healthy or healthier.
And I think the big thing with a lot of people is they think that it's an all or nothing thing. Like they have to make these huge changes. But I think if people just slowly started adding small things to change their diet, like for example, starting to add oatmeal more instead of sugary cereal or things like that. If they just add a little bit each day, it'll become more of a lifestyle change then.
And that's the absolute truth. And in terms of lifestyle changes, it doesn't have to you don't have to quit everything and start, working out 2 hours a day. Small changes add up. So, for example, going for a 10-minute walk each day and then increasing it to 2 10-minute walks, parking further away, taking the stairs when you can, things like that, or adding more fruits and vegetables with each meal, that's going to make a huge difference, and they'll add up over time.
Yeah, and I think and it becomes more of a habit. And I also think like once you start making these small changes, you start to feel better about yourself. Like, wow, this kind of feels good. Like even sometimes it's inconvenient or it doesn't taste as good or you get a little tired. Like there's still kind of some sort of satisfaction that comes where you're like, wow, I did something today that's good for me. And
absolutely. Yeah. And those habits will become second nature. So they will, lifestyle changes rather than diets are the way to go, because that's when you're forming healthy habits, they can last a lifetime and they're much easier to follow. And rather than an extreme diet just to lose weight and put it back on, that's actually not good for your heart to yo-yo diet. So you're better off making.
I didn't realize that the yo-yo diet, like being on a diet, off a diet, I didn't realize that would add stress to your heart as well, though.
Yep, it does. It does. It adds more stress to your heart.
That is my big thing, though. Like I really, like the more I get into this major of exercise science, and learning about being healthy, like the more I realize like how much better it is to just have gradual increases, do things that are just minor changes, and over
Yep.
time, like it's way better. It's easier to manage. You don't get all stressed out and upset and just fly off the handle and go eat a bunch of things that you shouldn't, and it's just
Yep.
better, to just do something small and simple each day.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you. Yeah, we've already covered some good lifestyle changes and diet changes. This is really good. I think let's see if we can remember. So we have is it heart.org that they can get some
Yes.
good diet plan?
Heart.org.
Mm-hmm.
You can get everything from a circuit workout that you can do at home to recipes for, there's even one for beef stew that's on there, lean cuts of beef that you can do, as well as we have obviously a lot of great vegetarian and vegan recipes too. But there are some comfort food recipes as well. So, and tips on like I said, how to create a circuit workout at home.
That's
So,
I think that's really I think this is so good. Like for listeners, I didn't realize that about this heart.org. I'm actually going to check it out later because
You'll-
my wife and I we haven't ever really been good about our diet. Like we've been pretty good about exercise and things, but we usually like get busy and say, "Oh, let's go to the drive-through. Oh, let's do this." And but we're trying to start cooking more. We're gradually increasing our cooking habits and things, and I think it'd be good to go to heart.org and find some recipes there.
Yep.
Make it a little easier on us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you'll notice the nutrition content on each recipe, so you know exactly what how much sodium, how much fat, how many calories are in each recipe, and they're easy.
Yeah.
There are lots of easy recipes. So,
What about fiber? Do you feel like fiber plays a big role into heart health? From what I'm learning, it
yeah.
seems like it does. Yeah.
Well, a big thing with fiber is that when you're eating, a lot of the foods that contain fiber are good for your heart, such as, you know, leafy vegetables, your whole grains. Those are all good for your heart. But a big thing with fiber, and this is something I found personally, and I don't want to endorse a particular cereal, but the one that I love is high fiber and high protein, and it fills you up. When you eat fiber dense foods, they fill you up, and you feel fuller longer. So that helps in terms of control poor eating habits. If you're eating something full of fiber, then you're not going to get hungry soon after.
I like that, and I think that's been something that's helpful for me because I love to eat and I love to eat a lot. And so
Yep.
but I've noticed that when I have like just some vegetables or some beans or anything with like some fiber in it and then protein as well, like that really helps to fill me up. So I think for our listeners like that think like, oh, fiber, that's like the stuff that old people eat or whatever,
No,
it's not really. It's like great.
popcorn is high fiber.
I actually didn't know that. That's great.
Yep, popcorn it contain. It's a good fiber in terms of a snack, and you don't have to do the microwave all butter and everything. If you air pop, we've actually got a recipe on our website for a ranch chive popcorn.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
And you season it, and I mean, there you've got a healthy snack. You can pop up a bunch and put it in smaller bags and take it for snacks on the go. So things like that I think people forget, contain fiber.
This is really good. I think if our listeners can just make these small changes, like,
Yep.
instead of today eating some frozen chicken nuggets, like air popping some popcorn, or
Yep.
having some carrots or something like that. If they can just do gradual things like that, that'll be make a big difference in their lives over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
And you talk about small changes with exercise, and so many people think, oh, I have to join a gym, I have to have equipment. You know what? A pair of shoes and a place to walk. And
I love
that's one thing people don't realize, that the American Heart Association works hard to advocate for safe routes for people to walk.
Huh.
So, we work with legislators to ensure that the sidewalks are in place so children can walk to school. We're fighting for more bike lanes and more sidewalks so that people can get out and walk or ride their bike. We're not just about, raising funds for research. We also advocate for policies that will help people live healthier lives. So, we fight against, big tobacco and making, we're trying desperately to keep e-cigarettes away from our youth.
I think
And
that's a good
work
one.
on clean air legislation. And, if you think about, you weren't even alive, most likely, when we used to have smoking in restaurants. And we were one of the groups that advocated to get rid of that, and smoking in bars. When I started at the Heart Association, Utah still allowed people to smoke in bars.
Wow.
And that changed. You also notice the AED machines, the automated external defibrillator. Those are in airports, and that's because we advocated for them to be in public buildings and places where people could access them and be able to use them to save a life. So we fight to teach CPR in schools as well. All Utah high school students have to have CPR training before graduation. So, we're doing a multitude of things besides just recipes and exercise. There are many things that go into keeping people healthy, and we want to make sure that everyone has access to walk safely, as well as access to healthy foods. If you live in a food desert and have to take a bus to get a head of lettuce, we want to help. We want to advocate for, community gardens and work to ensure that everyone has healthy access. So, sorry, I'm rambling on, but
that's
so
totally
much goes into things.
Yeah, and I love you can just feel the passion that you have for this.
Oh,
and it's
thank you.
I didn't realize that the American Heart Association fought for all those things too. But
Yep.
yeah, and I think, and that's the thing, with what you guys said, the policies with making more bike paths and walking paths, people don't realize how fun of a pastime it is to just walk around and watch people and
Yep.
just see the beautiful scenery. It's fun to watch TV, but if you could replace a TV show each day with going around and watching the show of people's lives
Yep.
out in the park or whatever, it's pretty entertaining and still and a lot better for your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
also I didn't realize that high schools were having to be CPR certified
Yep. Well, they don't have to have certification. They have to have the training.
they have to have been
Which-
taught how to do it or something.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yep, exactly. So you don't, anyone can learn how to save a life, especially with hands-only CPR. It's 2 steps. You call 911 and you push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives.
Right.
So, those are simple things, and even with the pandemic, you can teach CPR over Zoom. So, we're working hard to continue helping people learn those techniques and be able to save a life. So
I love this. I did not realize how much the American Heart Association does, but I am loving every minute of it.
well, I appreciate that. We've shifted a lot to we truly believe in fighting for equitable health for all, and social determinants of health play a huge part of that, as well as I'll be perfectly honest with you, we just made a huge announcement in dealing with structural racism. We had a scientific statement about how structural racism is bad for the heart and brain, and what it does to people who have to endure that, and the health inequity of it. And so we're making a 4-year, $230 million investment to address health inequity.
Wow.
And to deconstruct barriers, to ensure equitable health in all communities, urban, suburban, rural, you name it. So, we're very passionate about that, and it feels incredible. Like I said, I've been here over 16 years. I love what I do, but seeing the evolution of the Heart Association has absolutely moved me to my core. We truly care about every individual and ensuring that they have access to good health.
Yeah,
So
I love that. And that's what we learn in exercise sciences. There's so many health disparities among our minority populations. And I think that's really cool that you guys are doing so much research into how to fix that and make it so everybody has these healthy hearts, and because we all deserve it. Like, everybody in this world deserves that.
Yep. Wow. Absolutely.
So we may have, switching gears a little bit, we may have some listeners who are overwhelmed. They may have just been diagnosed with heart disease, or they're just knowing that they've had years and years of a sedentary lifestyle, and they just know that they need to make a change. What are just a couple of things that you think that they could start doing today where they can make a change in their life?
First of all, take a deep breath. We're all overwhelmed right now in one way or another because of this pandemic.
Oh, yes.
I think a great way to get started is to go to heart.org and you can tap into resources there to help you get started small. Don't think you have to make these drastic changes overnight. Like I said, you can simply put on a pair of shoes and get out and walk for 10 minutes and increase that every day. Or, adding more fruits or vegetables. The other thing is, if you're newly diagnosed, or for example, if you are pregnant and you learn that your child has a congenital heart defect, you are not alone. And we have our online support network with tons of different groups for everything from high blood pressure to pediatric stroke, as well as for caregivers too. And you can interact with these groups and know that you're not alone, and that there are resources and other people who are in the same boat, who are there to be a shoulder for you. So keep that in mind as well. And, we're there to help.
I think that's important. If the more you can expand your social circle or your social support circle, I think that'll be a big one. Like for my brother, for example, he spent many, many years just with unhealthy lifestyle. He spent a lot of time sitting and not with very healthy diets, but he realized, like, he was starting to have kids, and he realized that if he kept going in that direction, he wasn't going to be able to be around to do all the things he loved with his kids. Like my dad, we've always gone dirt biking, and my dad, he's almost 60, and he's still riding the dirt bike and killing it.
Great.
And so my brother was kind of motivated by that, said, wow, I want to be like my dad. And so, like, just thinking of his family was really motivating to him, to help him see, like, wow, I can do this. And it's been amazing to see his transformation. And it was just small things every day he started changing. It's pretty cool to see. And
that's
it's
fantastic.
yeah, I it makes me really excited and happy. Like it makes me want other people to have that joy and satisfaction as well. Like it's been rewarding. So, but and that kind of leads into, like, what can we do? So, like, maybe we have a family member, or maybe we're just in the community and we don't know very many people that well. What can we do to help people who have heart disease, or to help this cause of increasing heart health?
I think one thing that people can do is, if you do go to our website, we have what's called our grassroots network, and you can join that and be part of our advocacy alerts. So you'll find out, when we're working on legislation, for example, dealing with providing safe routes to school, or, maybe it's a tobacco tax, which, Lord, we're not working on right now. That's not the time, but things like that, you'll be alerted of those. And then you can also, find other ways to get involved, on just going to heart.org. Whether it's donating, a few dollars, or donating your time, or, learning CPR, just going to our website and clicking on the hands only CPR tab and learning the steps, watching a video and learning the steps and sharing them with others, learning the heart attack and stroke symptoms and sharing those with your family and friends, so that they're aware. So if they see someone who they love experiencing those symptoms, they know, oh gosh, that looks like they're having a stroke. I better call 911.
Wow, that's actually a great idea. And I mean, you could even use that as, like, a date night idea. I mean, like, you learn, let's learn how to save someone's life tonight, like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, let's cook a heart healthy recipe and learn the steps of CPR. It can be just simple things like that make a huge difference. So I encourage everyone to visit heart.org and just learn a little something. It'll make a huge difference.
Everybody out there, go to heart.org. I'm going to tonight. Thank you, Jennifer.
Absolutely.
This has been a really great interview. I'm so much more pumped about the American Heart Association, and
I'm glad.
And I'm actually, I don't know if many of the listeners know, I'm going into physical therapy. I think I want to actually work in cardiopulmonary rehab as a physical therapist, and I think that this is just more and more resources and information that I can use. So this is cool.
Yes, rehab is so important for heart survivors and stroke survivors. It's you can continue to rehab for years for stroke survivors and continue to improve. So rehab it makes such a huge difference, and it's so important.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody out there for listening. I hope it was helpful for you. Please go to heart.org and thank you for listening. Share it with your friends. Thanks. Bye. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. That was
no problem.
so great. Like, really, I did not realize how cool like the American Heart Association was. I saw it on like cereal boxes and stuff, and this is cool. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm here to do, is to teach people that we're so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, great. I'm excited to share this podcast on Facebook and stuff, and have people hopefully listen to it and get educated more about how great the American Heart Association is.
Well, send me the link, and I'm willing to share it with others too. So, and as you're working, if there's anything, if you're listening back on something and it doesn't make sense, or if you have additional questions, just shoot me an email or give me a call.
I will. Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.